Sorry about that, my video cut off. So what happened was, like I said, how when it's thicker, it's way harder to work with. You have less time, as well as the lippage that you get between like the new concrete and the old concrete is a lot more. So what I had to do was actually use an angle grinder, and I basically used one of these tools. I went on my knees around the entire, every square foot. I kind of like ran my hand over it and made sure that it was flat enough, and if it wasn't, like right here, you can kind of see it. I had to grind the crap out of it just to make it so that it was level because of those imperfections. So that's why I would advise against that. Now, in terms of the tools that you can use to mix it, you have to have what's it called? You have to have a drill that you have to have one that goes a minimum of 900 RPMs. That's really important for the self-leveling compound because of the chemicals that are in there. I can't remember what they refer to them as. I believe they call them liquefiers. If you don't mix it well enough, then the compound, it stays fairly clumpy, and so you definitely don't want that. So what you want to use is one of these, and it should be around 9 amps, and just try to look at the specs and, you know, get one that has can do 900 RPM, that is designed for like mortars and like that kind of stuff. The one that I'm recommending here, I got this one at Princess Auto, and it was on sale for I think $60, which is a really good price. I'd highly recommend it after using it. Before, like in the previous time that I've used this, I did use a hammer drill, and I tried using that same hammer drill and actually burned out the hammer drill. I wouldn't recommend you do it. As long as you get one of these like mixing ones that is, you know, powerful enough, I would use that for sure. The other thing to kind of consider is how you're going to apply it. Now, it's hard to apply this with two people. Doing it with one person is impossible. I would never do this with one person. So the way that they mathematically have it set up is that that's the mortar. I don't have any more bags, I use them all up. But one of the bags of the self-leveling compound, when you add the water to it, is basically going to like top off one of these pails. And it's like you have to have one person consistently mixing and the other person consistently putting it down. If you're doing it over a large area, you have to have one person continuously mixing, the other one putting it down, and it's kind of like going back and forth, back and forth. One person's like leveling it out, the other person's mixing it. It's hard. The thing that like I really didn't like doing it like this, it felt very unorganized and it was very panicky. The thing that I did, and I'd honestly highly recommend it, especially if it's your first time, is I use these old chemical drums. So these chemical drums, they're 210 liters, I believe, and like the idea of it is that you don't want to like, you know, fill it even like halfway full, because it's going to be like fairly, like these drums are going to get really heavy with that concrete. What I did is they recommend, like I said, I recommend you use 5.2 liters per 50 pound bag. I put 3 of those bags into the drum, as well as added I think it was 15.6 liters of water, and you have to be very accurate with that. It's a very specific number. I wouldn't go any more than that. I think that 5.2 is fine. I wouldn't go any less than that personally, but you know, to each their own, right? When you make it up in one of these large containers, it makes it very, very easy to kind of put the compound down all at once, so that you can spread it out and it can kind of work all together. If I try doing an area like this, and this is like a new home construction, and when you walk down here, you couldn't really see the imperfection that much. And just to give a general idea of how many bags this was, like this room from like wall to wall is 28 feet, and I'm gonna guess that this is probably like a 12-foot patch. And it did look fairly level, but when I took out the level and actually did it, you know, there was definitely like it seemed like the worst place was just over 1/4 of an inch, and then it seemed like an average of between 1/8 of an inch and 1/4 of an inch, but it definitely used a lot more than I thought that it would. This is 9 bags right here of what it did for mine. So yeah, so getting back to this. So if you use these drums, then when you put it down, you have it's a lot easier to move it around because you don't have to keep putting the individual pails. It's not going to be drying up on you that fast, and it's a lot easier to work with, like doing 3 at a time. And the other thing too is that, like, I actually there's one outside, this is a walkout, but I used, you can actually mix up the 3 batches at once, which is super nice. Like if you try to do like 1 pail, then another pail, then another pail, it makes it very challenging because like there's just, you just don't have any time whatsoever. Whereas what you can do is you want to put like the 15.6 liters in each one of the containers, and then you can add the concrete to one, add 1 pail, stir it up, add another pail, stir it up, or sorry, another bag, stir it up, and then add the 3rd bag, and then stir it up, and just make sure you go around it. Like you want to stir that for about probably 5 minutes, make sure that there's no clumps anywhere, and then once that's done, you can actually let it sit for a fairly long time without having any issues. So then what you want to do is you want to go to the next one, and then you want to again put in like the 3 bags, stir it up, make sure it's good, go to the last one, do the same thing, and then after that go back to the first one, stir it up a bit, just make sure you're going through it slowly, making sure that there's no clumps in it, and then do the same thing for the second one, and then the same thing for the 3rd one. In my application, what I did, and it worked out very good for me, was I put 1 drum in basically every corner of where I knew the it was kind of like going downwards towards like the center part. And so I started off with 1, I dumped it down, I spread it out kind of in that area, and this was also like the lowest point, and then I added the next one, and then I added the next one, and then I just kind of, you know, moved it all towards the center. And the other thing is, you can't, like the salesperson, sorry, said that you could just stir it, or you could just move it around with a piece of wood, or you know, like a broom or something. I tried using a broom, it worked like garbage. I bought this also at Princess Auto, and it cost me $25. It's just a squeegee, and yeah, like this tool, it really helped out with just kind of moving the product around. I would highly recommend it. I got a 32-inch one right there. And when you do apply it, you have to remember that the idea isn't to spread it out as much as possible. You want to basically put it down and just kind of like graze the top of it and like let it do its thing. And in my application, like if I would have spread it out more, then I wouldn't have been able to, it would have more kind of followed what I wanted it to do rather than what gravity is just naturally doing to smooth it out. So like you move it to where you want it to be, and then you lightly, very little force, just drag it across, and then just like move it around. But don't force it to go. If you see it like settling in like one place, don't like, how do I put it? You don't want to like force it out of that place, because eventually it's going to dry, and then you're going to have like, it's just not going to work that well. So you just want to kind of drag it across the top. So yeah, the thing is, like, if you don't put this stuff down, it takes a long time to grind it out. Trust me, I know, because I made this mistake. And it works really well when you do it properly. But the thing is, like, if you mix it up and it's too concentrated, you get the clumps. You have to grind it. And if it's too dilute, then it's not going to be strong enough. So you want to have that healthy medium. The other thing too is, before you put down this product, you definitely want to have a clean floor, and you don't want to have any primer. Or sorry, what am I talking about? You do want to have primer. You want to put down the primer before, so it helps with the adhesion of the one concrete to the next concrete. But I can't stress it enough how, like, in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm putting down a tile, I want to have a nice level floor. This product kind of doesn't work like that unless you, like, for this 900 square feet, I would have had to put down like 40 bags of it in order for it to basically have this kind of an effect over the entire basement. In my recommendations to you, I would recommend, like, go over it. If you don't see any imperfections over 1/8 of an inch, don't worry about it, because kind of, if you have to fix it, then fix it. But if you don't have to fix it, then just tile over top of it. And I hope that this video helped. I hope it saved some people some time because, like, you know, I made a mistake in this, in putting it all over and kind of forcing it and doing it too concentrated and not using the right tools. So I hope that I can kind of give you, you know, an idea of kind of what's required with this. This is my first video. If you liked it, you know, give me a thumbs up, I guess, and I hope that not too many people troll me with comments saying, "Well, you're an idiot. You don't know how to do this." I guess I don't do this for a living. I'm just trying to help out with, you know, the average Joe who's trying to use it. So, anyway, have a good day, and you know, I'll see you in the chat. Bye.